Welcome to this Talking to Python for Everybody course. In this lecture, we are going to discuss everything from the start, what we are going to do in this Python, and what are the basic requirements for running a Python command in your computer. Suppose when you go to your computer, you just open command line and type Python 3. If you get something like 3.5 Python, you will get confirmed that you have Python 3 installed in your computer. If not, so then go and install that Python from the browser python.org. Suppose if you have installed this, we are going to make a simple program with this Python command line x equals to 1, where x is a variable name and 1 is its value. And now we are going to the syntax of Python, which is print x. It is going to give us the exact value that x is pointing to. So x is pointing towards 1, we'll get x is equals to 1. Now we increase x to x plus 1. As you can see on the right hand side, x equals to x plus 1. And now we are going to, when we are going to get the print x value, it is going to give us the value 2 because 1 is added to 1, which is the value of x. This is good test to make sure that you have Python correctly installed. Note that quit also works to end the interactive session. So now you are using exit to enter and exit from the Python 3 programming interface. So what do we say? Elements of Python, which is vocabulary and words, variables and reserved words, which we are going to discuss in the chapter 2. Sentence structure, what are the valid syntax patterns, we are going to discuss from chapter 3 to 5. And the story structure, constructing a program for a purpose. A short story about how to count Python in a file in a Python. Suppose we have a large number of files, .txt file, and we want how a count function in a Python works. So this is something that might going to sound Greek to you or see Greek to you. You just need to see and not worry about anything. We'll discuss this in a later course. You just need to focus on the things that are the variables and what are the structures of this. So name equals to input. Input is a function for getting input from the user. Open is a function where we have assigned handled as a variable and open is value. Now open is a function for opening a file. Suppose when you input a name, suppose your name of the file is xyz.txt and you have assigned that name to the variable name, and now you are opening open function xyz.txt. So handle is going to have the value of that file. Now with the functions of dictionary and the looping methods, we can interact with the file and we are going to process some of the information that we want to extract or retrieve from that file. So Python works with the extension .py, and the txt information we are going to get is going to be stored in the words.txt or any file.txt. There are some reserved words. You cannot use reserved words as a variable names or identifiers. So these are some of the reserved words that you are going to interact with it in the future courses. So we are going not to use these words as our variables names, because if we use it, our program is going to yell at us or our interpreter is going to yell at us. Sentences or lines. X is equals to 2. We have assigned 2 to the variable x, which is an assignment statement. X is equals to x plus 2. Assignment with an expression. Expression is something that produces a value. A piece of code that produces a value is known as expression. And now we are printing the value of x, which is a print function. Programming paragraphs. Python scripts. Interactive Python is good for experiments and programs for 3 to 4 lines long. Most programs are much longer, so we type them into a file and tell Python to run the command line in the file. In a sense, we are giving Python as a script. As a convention, we say .py as the suffix on the end of these files to indicate any they contains Python. So whenever you see a file with .py extension, you must understand that this is a Python file. Coming up next is interactive versus script. Interactive, you type directly to Python one line at a time and it responds. And script, you enter a sequence of statements, lines into a file using a text editor and tell Python to execute the statements in a file. So this is the difference between interactive versus script. Program steps for or program flow. Like a recipe or installation instructions, a program is a sequence of steps to be done in order. Some steps are conditional, they may be skipped. Sometimes a step or group of steps is to be repeated. Sometimes we store a set of steps to be used over and over as needed several places throughout the program, which we are going to discuss in the chapter 4. There are some sequential steps which we follow to get the output. When a program is running, it flows from one step to the next step. As programmers, we set up paths for the program to follow. There are some of the conditional steps where we want to execute at the point, and if that point fails, we want another statement to be executed. Repeated steps, where we want something to be repeated from time to time. We use repeated functions, suppose as for loops or while loops. Loops, which is repeated steps, have iteration variables that change each time through a loop. We are going to discuss that in the further also. A short Python story about how to count a word in a file, a word used to read data from a user. Coming up next in the line is a sentence about updating one of the many counts, a paragraph about how to find largest item in a list. We'll see this in the later course. So this is a quick overview of chapter 1. We will revisit these concepts through the course. Focus on the big picture. This was all the introduction, and coming up next are the introduction more, and we'll deep dive into the real world concepts of Python. Thank you for watching this chapter 1. Have a nice day and keep subscribing.